I'm gonna keep on going here. I believe the next thing is gonna get my new coil on, and these are riveted, or this coil is riveted on this bracket. So I'm gonna try drilling these out. The new coil comes with little bolts that you put in to mount it. So, okay, ground those rivets off, the heads of them. Took a screwdriver, pried this off. Now I'm gonna flip it around. I ground these off, and I'm just gonna take a little punch this old coil out, and I'm gonna install the new one. Okay, there it is, all ready to go back in the truck. You see it comes with these little screws, the little Allen head bolt instead of rivets. Just like factory, all the plugins are factory, and it's ready to go back on the truck. Okay, I got the coil installed, bracket back on the intake. I went ahead and plugged in my map sensor, the evap solenoid back here. I believe that's what it is. I plugged in the main injector harness, hooked back up the vacuum for the brake booster, hooked this wire back up here. I need to go to the part store right now. I'm gonna get a new PVC or PCV valve. Then I need some more vacuum line because this one broke here. Install a new gasket for my throttle body. I'm gonna go also while I'm at the store. I'm gonna grab some new heater hoses. I got my water pump in. I already got a new hose on that. Hooked up my lower radiator hose. Another thing is I'm going to shut off the drain on the radiator here. Okay, when installing your water pump, I put some RTV on the threads of them bolts because they go into the block there. They need to be sealed. It came with new gaskets. I got to pick up a new EGR valve gasket there, and then I guess I'm ready to put my new thermostat in and the water neck. Okay, here's my new thermostat, stainless steel from Jet. Here's the old one. I guess I gotta transfer this seal over to the new thermostat. I might check to see while I'm at the parts store to see if I can get a new one of those. Okay, I got my new thermostat in there with the new gasket. Gonna drop my water neck on there like that. There don't need any sealer, I guess, because that seal. So okay, I got my heater hoses all hooked back up. I got new ones. They weren't cheap, but I figure it's worth it. I had to use a pliers on some of the ends, and I kind of marred them up pretty good, so I figured just put new ones on. Got the EGR valve in with a new gasket. I got new PCV valve in there. Had to repair some of the hose on the end of that. The vacuum line that goes there, I got a new one on there, and I followed it up, and it goes over here, and these vacuum lines didn't look very good, so I replaced some of them. I got the AC compressor just sitting up there for now. Got the bracket for the heater hoses just sitting there too. I need the alternator on to bolt that up and then finally clip them in. You can see the wiring here I got some of these plugged back in. If you flop the wiring back into place, it has what my dad calls a memory. So they kind of flop and fall where they were plugged in before. So that's pretty easy. These are for the throttle body. EGR is plugged in. I got some wires over there for the AC compressor. I don't know if I'm going to bolt that down quite yet. Getting close. Okay, you can see you got a bunch of stuff all back on. Throttle body's back on. Throttle cables back in. AC compressors bolted down, plugged back in. Belt is back on. Alternator's back on, plugged back in. Alternator brackets back on, tightened down. There is a bolt in there, right there in that hole. You're going to need some sort of a universal joint or a swivel socket to get that on and off. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. Water pump pulley is on. I got the fan on. Lower radiator shroud is back in there before I put the fan on. Got miscellaneous brackets that hold wiring clipped back on. The only thing left now is my upper radiator shroud and the air cleaner assembly. And this should be ready to fill with coolant and fire it up. Okay, got the upper shroud in. Got my filter assembly in. I got my sensors plugged back in. I got the wire clipped back here, back in. Don't forget your little deal for the back of the air filter there. It goes on like that. I'm going to top my antifreeze up. I'm going to fill my radiator. I'm going to fill the coolant tank there. And I'm getting ready to fire this thing back up for the first time. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cycle the key and look for fuel leaks, because I did unhook that fuel line back there and I unhooked the fuel line up here. So I'm just going to turn the key on and cycle that pump, the fuel pump. Make sure I ain't got no leaking fuel, because if I got leaking fuel and I run this, could be really bad situation. So that's what I'm going to do first. Okay, I've put coolant in the radiator and I don't see anything leaking under here except for what I spilt putting it in there. So everything looks good. I'm going to cycle the key and then check for fuel leaks. Okay, just turn the key on. Go out and check, make sure I got no leaks. Well, I didn't see nothing leaking, so let's see if she fires up. Fired up good. Well, she started up, fired up real good. I don't see no fuel leaks, I don't see no coolant leaks. I got to get it, or I gotta get these the hoist out from underneath it. I can't run it in the shed here. I'm gonna kill myself to bleed the system. This thing was pretty difficult to bleed last time I did. I forgot what I did, if I did the water pump or what, but it did not want to bleed the air out. It took a while. So I am going to get it outside and let it run so I can bleed the coolant system on this. Okay, I'm just letting it run outside here. You can see it's nighttime. I got my heat on high, trying to get the air out of the heater core, or let the coolant flow through that so the air's out of that. And let this run. I'm not smelling the antifreeze burning smell either that I smell. I'm smelling a lot of the new parts breaking in, but the burning antifreeze smell is gone. So, well, I've been running it for a while. See the temperature gauge there. I put about 2 gallon in it. As of now, the book says it holds 3 gallon, and you gotta figure the block must have had some in it, so it's got to be pretty darn close to being full capacity right now. Now, it's definitely not as warm as it was before I did all this, and I think maybe that thermostat might have been sticking or not working right or something, because it was a whole heck of a lot harder to bleed this last time, and I think that thermostat was the issue. So no leaks anywhere. I don't see any leaks in the engine. I don't see any fuel leaks, coolant leaks. So it's looking like a job well done. I'm gonna run this around as soon as I know all the air's out of this coolant here, and I'm gonna pull it in the shop, raise it back up, check everything out again. So that's an intake gasket job on one of these Vortec V6s. Not too bad of a job. It did take me a little longer doing all these videos. It took longer than if I was just going at it. I've never done one of these intakes, so I was just taking my time. I've never had one leak on me until now. I know they say even the V8s have an intake leaking issue, but I've never run into one, all the ones I've had. So this is the first one. Not that bad of a job. You know, pretty straightforward. Didn't have any real trouble. I think the most trouble I had was getting that fan off the water pump, and really you don't need to do that to do an intake job. So there it is, new intake gaskets. I did a bunch of other parts too, water pump and stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and hope this helps other people attempting the job or thinking about doing the job. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.